Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden. I'm CJ, and this is an uncharacteristically early stream, but I have things this afternoon, so I couldn't do the normal 11:30 stream on a Friday. So we're early today. Welcome in everyone, glad to have you. I know it's gonna potentially be a different crew today because we're about 3 hours earlier than we normally are, but that's okay. Welcome in, Lycan. Glad to have you. Yeah, and I realize for a lot of you, this might be the first time you're seeing me in a long time because I'm live at a time when you can actually watch. So, welcome in. We are going to be working on an app called Fresh Spots in Brookzerker. Welcome in. I saw you were streaming. I'm never up early enough to tune in, except for today, Brooks. This is the first time in a while I was up early enough to tune into you, but I was preparing for my stream, so I couldn't. But everyone should definitely check out Brookzerker. Right now they're doing U, which I think is like a front-end thing that uses Rust. They do a lot of Rust development over there on Brookzerker's channel. Oh, actually, we can try out this new thing. I don't know if you're still here, Brooks. If you have to go to work or whatever, we'll see you. But for those of you that are here, Brooks is here. You should now see an overlay that says follow. Click that follow button. Definitely go check out Brooks. I think he's streaming every day around this time. Yeah, no worries, Brooks. Have a good day. So definitely go follow them. Okay, we're working on an app called Fresh Spots. It's going to allow users to create and share lists of places to visit. And we've been working on this a while. This is stream number 12. If you want to look at past episodes, you can look at the YouTube playlist. It's been a journey. But we started this about a little over 2 months ago. And then I hesitate because ultimately, this has been an exploration of the Deno ecosystem. Deno's been around for a few years, but it's still not as mature in terms of like community support and community projects like Node.js. I mean, there is a community and there is support, but it's not as you would expect from like if you're coming from the Node.js world. Now, Deno is working on getting support for all of the things in the Node.js world, so pretty soon we won't have to worry about all of that as much, but we spent a lot of time finding the right framework to use for talking to a Postgres database. We spent a lot of time figuring out how to do OAuth. I ended up writing my own library. We spent some time figuring out sessions and cookies, and then also because we're using this framework called Fresh, which is new. It's specifically for Deno. It's all about server-side rendering, just-in-time rendering, and then also has the idea of islands where you can have tiny little islands of JavaScript interactivity. But it's been a journey, and this is what we got so far. So here, I'll log out so I can show you the flow. This is the landing page. You can log in with Discord. What's up, Pablo? Glad to have you. And then on your dashboard, you can create a new list. So, for example, top 10 pizza restaurants in NYC. Give it a description, click create. That drops you onto a map, and then you can find the place on the map that you want to add to your list. So let's do that. Where's New York City? There's New York City. There's probably a pizza place within a block from there. Someplace. I'll update this later. You click save, that adds the spot to the list. You can add multiple. The way we have this is once you click on the map, now you're kind of like in edit mode, and then you can click around to really find the specific spot that you want to add. And then once you're ready, you can click save, and then that adds them to the list. Great. And then if you're back on your dashboard, you can go into the list. It'll automatically center around any points that are in the list. This is one that I made before stream, best parks in Denver. I live in Denver, Colorado, so we got lots of parks. We've got Sloan's Lake, we've got Washington Park, City Park, Cheeseman Park, Commons Park and Confluence Park. They're usually like considered the same, but they're technically separate. Berkeley Park is pretty cool, which is technically outside of Denver County, but it's still a cool park. I think it's outside of Denver County. I don't know. And Barnum Park. So this is the creation of the list. This is how far we've gotten. You can essentially create lists. You can add spots to it. As you can see, there's no editing, so that's what we're going to work on today. So essentially, you'll be able to go into the list. You'll be able to edit the title and also the description for that list. And then when you click on a spot, or we might have an edit button for the spot, you'll be able to update the name, the description, and then also potentially change the latitude, longitude of that specific spot. So that's the plan for today. And then also allow sharing of a list, because right now, if you took this link and you tried to share it with somebody who wasn't logged in, they would get an unauthorized error because they're trying to access a list that they don't have access to. But the idea is we want to be able to create a shareable list. So today, after we get some of the editing and updating working, we're going to create a slug, which is like a human readable URL for the list, and we'll allow you to share that list so that other people can load it up. The Twitch notification came 15 minutes before the email. I did switch email providers, and I have a slower sending rate, so that's a thing. What's up, Mysterious? Is that what is that? Is that a slug? Oh, it's a Germa slug. Nice. I like it. The description was, in fact, not updated. Like, no, that's why I wrote it that way, is because that's what we're going to do today. Basically, everything that has a description like this, and then each of the individual spots, we're going to be able to edit those today. That's the plan anyways. That's the plan. Yeah, Fresh Spots Season 1, Episode 12. What do you mean, Steven? Can't people use this for crime? I mean, people can use a lot of things for crime. You could technically... What do you mean, like... What do you mean? What crime are people using this for? Yeah. Stute is saying... Stut. I'll call you Stut. Can you add a fence like geofence in a Google map? Right now, we don't have anything like that. Essentially, when you create a new list, right now it just centers on the United States, and then you'll scroll around. After you add your first spot, then it knows to at least center on there whenever you go in to edit. But right now there's no geofencing or anything like that. What's up, Limotes? Welcome in. I can use my shoes for crime. Right? You can use a lot of things for crime. Do I feel comfortable using Deno? I mean, would you rather keep using Node over Deno for your future personal projects? I think there are a few things that we need to wait on before Deno is like truly there. For one, Deno released a blog post a few months ago mentioning some big changes coming for Deno, including better performance and also including compatibility with Node and NPM. So 80 to 90% of NPM packages will work with Deno within the next 3 months, and this was published in August. So August to September, September to October, October, November. So in November 15th, we should have 80 to 90% of NPM packages working inside of Deno. Now, I don't know what 80 to 90% those are, because there's a lot of packages on NPM. I think some of the really core modules they need to support are like Node crypto, because a lot of packages depend on that, and a few other things. But once they have that, all the things you can do in the Node world, for the most part, you'll be able to do it within Deno. You'll have better security, and it will be faster. So when we get there, I think it's time to that would be the point where people could actually consider Deno as a start, especially if you're coming from the Node.js world. The other thing is really popular libraries like Prisma would be great to have working inside of Deno. So right now, I guess they closed the issue. It's a duplicate of this one that is not closed. So Prisma is a really great library for working with databases, and it, as far as I know, doesn't yet support Deno. Now, these changes that the Deno project itself are making could make it so that it's easier to get Prisma support. But that's another thing, is like there's some libraries that I'd want to be able to use inside of Deno that you can't yet use. And so that's something else to consider. Thanks for all the subs. I'll catch up on all the subs. Best spots to do. Best spots for crime in Denver. Morning, One Computer Guy. Welcome in. And thank you, Metal Alb, for that tier 1. Welcome in, Adrune, first timer. Glad to have you. Do I ever expect your projects to get popular and maybe earn money? Everything I do on Coding Garden has been mostly for teaching and for fun. I have not done anything with Coding Garden that would create any sort of income. I haven't created any sort of like software as a service products or anything like that. Now, there are a lot of the apps that we've built that you could definitely put a software as a service spin on them and make money from them, but that's not something I focus on here. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before jokingly, but like Fresh Spots, we can make it so that new users can only have up to 10 lists and can only add, I don't know, 20 spots to a list, and then after that you need to sign up for premium or something like that. We could add that. For the most part, the app that we've been building here has been all about exploring the Deno ecosystem, not really about making money or making an app that can make money. And Zatari, welcome in. Metaphor says, I got a styling transition question about this site. Ask in the Discord. So this is actually a great time to talk about the Discord, because we're making some changes. We're making some changes to we made some changes to make it easier to ask questions in the Discord. Let me pull it up really quick so you can see. Yeah. Cool. I'm just there's a question in the general channel that intrigued me. I'll look at that in a second. But we used to have separate help channels for all different things. So we had like video help, like if you were watching a YouTube video of mine and you needed help, you could ask in there. General help, front end, back end, code katas, and those were separate discussion threads. Currently, I've made those read only. And now we have a help forum. So if you have a question, so !Discord, you can join the Discord. There's a process to join it. Ultimately, it's harder than just clicking a button to get into our Discord, and that is a barrier to entry. But it prevents bot spam, and it makes sure that people know the rules before joining the Discord, because we've had a lot of people come in and just spam messages and stuff like that. So click that link to join the Discord, read it, internalize it, and then once you finally get in, there is this help forum. And the idea is, if you have a question, you can just click new post, ask your question, give it the right tags, and this is going to be much easier to keep track of who has asked questions. Because before, things would just get lost in the discussion thread. And I mean, like, I felt bad because, like, I want to help people. Obviously, it's my Discord. I mean, there's over 5,000 people in here, but it's not very active. But when it is active, it's really hard to see who actually has asked a question. And if some other question was getting answered, it's hard to see if the question before that got answered. So with a forum, now each question gets its own little thread with its own tags, and it'll be much easier to track. And we also have the solved tag. So for instance, HXGD asked the question in here, and then once they got an answer, they just marked it as solved, and now we know that that person doesn't need help anymore. So if you have a question, join the Discord. You can add a question in the forum. And yeah, I mean, so this is how one of the ways we used to interact on the web. So before Discord, forums were one of the main ways of interacting online and getting help. Before that, it was mainly just IRC, and I guess also there were bulletin boards, BBS systems. Now we have this giant software as a service, but I mean, basically this app that they provide is basically like IRC and forums and bulletin boards all in one. But it's a global platform, so you can keep your identity across servers, which is pretty interesting. I don't know. But regardless, there's this. But also, I think I want to address this question. Yeah, I guess that's a good point, Mysterious. Now that you have all of this discussion siloed to various communities, it actually isn't searchable on the web. Huh. Wow. That's something to think about. I mean, technically you can access Discord from a web browser, but you need to be logged in, so any sort of search engine crawler wouldn't be able to find stuff. But here's a question from Kill and Cry. Might not be right here, but can't find anything reliable on the internet. Are the PSU power cords universal? The cord that runs from the PSU into the power socket on my wall? As in, can I use a power cord from one PC for another? There are different PSUs. I think the answer is no. I don't know if you just saw me bend over, but this is what they're talking about. These here. But I believe if you look at the cord, it will say what it's rated for. There should be some markings on it that say, like maximum amperage, maximum voltage. I can try to read this one. So this one says 18 aux, so that's the thickness of the wire. 50 degrees Celsius, 300 volts. So this thing should not operate at temperatures higher than 50 degrees Celsius and cannot handle more than 300 volts. This one specifically came with the power supply of my PC that I just pulled it from. So that's what you would want to look for. I don't know if anybody in the chat has anything. 50 volts, 300 degrees Celsius. I think Discord is moving away from bots being able to read message content for most cases, which would mean creating a bot to log these solutions would... Weird. Like, if a bot can't access messages, that's crazy. But, I don't know. It is true, like, Stack Overflow is used for getting help and stuff like that, but it's less focused around a community and more focused around technologies, I guess. But, yeah. So the plug is universal, but I think there are some of them that can't handle as many voltages or can't handle as the higher temperatures. If your bot is in less than 100 servers, it can still read message content. Okay, that's good to know. As long as it's not a tiny cord, it's probably fine. Yeah. And let me grab a note. So this one came from a PSU, but I have LCD monitors that use that same plug. I'm gonna go grab one of them, and we'll see if it has a different rating. Let's see. I did some organization over the past weekend, and I forgot that, like, I organized my cables really well, so it was, like, impossible to pull this thing out. Let's see. This says 105 degrees Celsius, 300 volts. Wow. That's double the temperature. So this one can actually handle higher temperatures than that one. I mean, this is that's interesting that I have this one that came with the LCD and that one that came with the computer, because I would assume you would want higher temperatures for like a 600 watt power supply. I don't know. So most of these have a 10 amp rating. All right, let me see if I can find the amp rating. What will it say? Amperage is on the plug? Like this part? Or this part? Oh, here we go. Yeah. You're totally right. So this says 10 amps, 125 volts. And Vignesh, thank you very much for that gift. Yeah, you're totally right. So 10 amps, 125 volts, 1250 watts. That's probably going to be the easiest. I don't even know if Kill and Cry is watching. But that literally tells you that this can't handle more than 1250 watts, which means it would work for pretty much any computer power supply, because most of them are like 600, 800 watts. And then this one says 10 amps, 125 volts. 10 amps, 120. Yeah. So they have the same rating. This one doesn't list the wattage, but I think 10 amps, 125 volts means 1250 watts, right? There's some kind of conversion there. Yeah. Amps times volts. Power equals I times R. Yeah, there's definitely math in there. Cool. So I don't know if you're watching Kill and Cry, but that's the answer. If you read the part of the plug that goes into the PSU, there is usually an amp and voltage rating. Amp times volts equals max wattage it can handle. If you look for writing on the cable, it will usually list the max operating temperature as well. Okay, there we go. We answered a question. Though I feel like this could have been good for to actually go to the forum instead of the general channel, but yeah. Just send like 500,000 amps down it. What's the worst thing that could happen? It will start off. It will melt. It will likely melt. All right, that's the Discord. If you have questions that aren't related to the topic that I'm talking about on stream, please join the Discord. Ask in here. I'll do my best to answer, and so will the community. There's quite a few active people that like to help out, and I want to help out more. And ideally, with the help forum, I will be able to, because it'll be easier to manage. So yeah, that's that. What now? I think we start coding now. I think we make it so that we can edit these things. I'll say hi to everybody. I'll welcome everybody in, and then we'll get right into it. But the plan for today is to be able to edit and update the spots on a list. Actually, let's edit and update the list itself. No. Edit and update the spots on a list. Meaning, when we go into a list, we should be able to click on a spot and then change its location, like either click somewhere else or drag it. Like, I don't want to create a new spot. I want to update the existing one that I was editing. We also need some more like quality of life improvements. Like there needs to be a cancel button here, because right now the way it works is if you start clicking on the map, it's ready to add a new spot. But we want to be able to cancel that because maybe you didn't want to do that. But ultimately, I want to be able to click on a spot that gives me like an edit form, so that way I can click save, and then that will update the location and potentially update the title and the description. That's what we're going to work on next. But first, let's say hi to everyone. If you'd like me to acknowledge you, you can say any one of these things. Hi, hello, hey, yo, cheers, greetings, hiya. Sup, what's up, morning, afternoon, evening, howdy, good day, coding, hiyo, vohayo, or bogahay. Say any one of these things, I will acknowledge you. And also, Veeb, I saw your message. I'll take a look. I'll take a look at the Express template repo. Thank you for making a request. Bogahay, welcome in. And welcome in the She-Boss. Thank you for that gift earlier. Hello, Mark. What's up, Chai Tea Coder? and Stony Eagle, Hello I Fills, and Code Than Cake, and DS Legends, and Enigmatic, and Timon, and Vignesh, and Burnt Rice, and Natal Dev, and OK Not Now, and Tariq, and Emma Swat, and Macaroni Pizza Pie. What's up, Shark Turn Up, and Hurt You Dev, and Silver Designs, and Veeb, and Sujan Dahal, and OX Neo, and Jords, and Brooks, thanks again for that raid. What's up, Pablo, and Limotes, and One Computer Guy, and Adrune, and Xtari, and In Metaphor, and Montane, and Lapis, and Sequel Gordstar, and Vulturebike, and Age Monkey, and Calavera, and Mysterious, Boga, hey, what's up, Really Shack, and you, Mr. You, what's up, Renee, and Cocamillo, welcome in, and Neon Dactyl, and Coding Tomato, and Six Zachariah, hello, Boga Hey, Naminate, lots of Boga subs in here this morning, that's awesome, thanks for showing up. What's up, Savage Quaka, and Mutahai, welcome in, everyone, glad to have you. Let's write some code. Okay, right now, when I click a spot, that just zooms in on the spot, which is pretty nice. But when I click the spot, I now actually want to make that, especially if I'm on the edit page. So if I'm in editing mode, I want that to be the currently focused editor. So when I click it, I actually want that to turn into a form with title, description, and I want it to allow me to adjust the latitude, longitude. That's the idea there. So let's get that working. I'm gonna go in here and edit this. Isn't that the purpose of Zoom? What do you mean by that? What do you mean, like the Zoom video chat thing? Okay, let's close all of our tabs and reacquaint ourselves with the code that we haven't touched in a week. Ultimately, all of this interaction is happening right now on the map and the sidebar. These two components. They're side by side. The sidebar is on the left, map on the right. When you click on the left, that's setting a signal which affects what happens on... Sorry, when you click on the left, they're both communicating with a signal. Signals are a concept in Preact that got added recently that essentially give you almost like a global store. So we defined all of these signals in this file. So I have an editing list, editing spot. We have the map, which we can, once set, we can access it from any component. And we also have the title that can be set from any component. So these signals get defined here, and then I can import these into any component and use the data. So it's kind of like the context API in React, but way, way easier. So for instance, you see that signal was defined there, but then if I look in one of these islands, like the sidebar, you'll see there's no use or anything like that. I literally just import the thing that I need from signals, and then I can use it, and it always has the latest value. It's kind of like magic. Isn't the zoom feature supposed to zoom in on the spot? Yeah, I mean, I guess it does. I mean, if I click on a spot, it zooms in on there. Do you mean like being able to zoom in like that, or you want to zoom in further? I don't know. Page transitions would be fun. So, but the issue with page transitions is this is all server-side rendered. So when I go to the dashboard page, that is not a that's not a single page application navigation. That is a full page request from the server. And as far as I know, I don't think there's any way to do like client-side routing like you might have in Next.js, where client-side routing kicks in after the page has loaded. You don't get that with Fresh. It's all about server renders. How is an island in Fresh different than a regular component? An island can have JavaScript. A regular component, all of the JavaScript gets stripped away whenever it gets server rendered. Yeah. Does Signal re-render the entire subtree like the React context in some stage? I think it's smart enough to only update the area, like its precise updates. You can read more about it here. But I do believe they do things in a very nice and optimistic way. Yeah. Islands. So we also had to do a hack last time because these signals, like if you set a signal on the server, that does not get hydrated to the client. And so we wrote like some hacky code to do that last time. I'm not going to be touching that code today, but eventually we're going to want to change that or update that. And I believe there's an issue open in Fresh in terms of trying to get a signal set on the server hydrated into an island. Regardless, let's think about this. So when I click here, right now it's zooming. So that is actually handled on the map component. Let's take a quick stretch. Acid Spark, thank you very much for the 30 months. And that reminds me, I need to thank all the people that resubbed because I totally missed all of that. Code Then Cake, thank you for the 17 months. The She-Boss with the gift. David Snyder with the 18 months. Oxneo with the 11. Thanks again, Brooks, for that raid. We can shout them out again. Definitely go drop a follow on Brooks. One Computer Guy, thank you for the 17 months. Metal All with the 6 months. Vignesh with the 6 months. Acid Spark with the 30. And Mr. U with the 8-month Prime. Thank you very much. I feel like you just sub because you want me to say your name. That's the only reason you sub. And you're just waiting for me to slip up. You can find my break timer here. There. Okay. When we click on the left, it zooms on the right. So right now, inside of the map component, we are listening for a click on the map. When the map is clicked, we do this fly to. So we fly to the specific... No, that's not actually it. This is whenever we're adding a new spot. The spots on the left-hand side would be the sidebar, and they probably have a click handler. Yeah, okay, that's it. So this is the code that renders the list on the left. When we click one of them, right now we are flying to that specific spot. But what we also need to do is when we click it, we need to set this spot as the one that we are currently editing. So I'll say if... and not even if, I could just say editing spot dot value equals this specific spot. So the spot that you click on, set it to be the editing one. And if I've done that right, and if we've that should be, honestly, that might actually be all we need. I do want to, I'll want to fix it because right now, like if you were editing another one and you didn't save it yet and you clicked, but now if I click that, look at that. It just instantly updates the form because the way we wrote this form component was it takes the current value of the editing spot. Cool. The only issue now, though, is we actually need to tell that form that this is now an update. It is not a create. Because right now, when I click save, that technically would try to create a new one. But I want to be able to tell it, hey, we are technically editing right now. We are not creating a new one. Okay. What's the coffee icon up top? Oh, let's keep it's. I think some other people were talking about this. Is called keeping you awake. It prevents my Mac from going to sleep. Okay, glad to hear it, Mr. U. What's the cutoff for the right number of click event handlers before you use only one and determine the action based on the target? I have never done this in my entire life as a web developer. I know that React actually handles this for you, so I guess technically, now that I'm using Preact, I don't even have to worry about that, but yeah, in React, if you have 100 different click handlers, behind the scenes, I'm pretty sure it only puts one click handler on the parent element and then fires the right click handler accordingly. I think there was once in my entire dev career where I did that on a page that was like vanilla JavaScript, but I've never run into a scenario where click handlers were making my page slow. I mean, they definitely could. If you had like 1,000 items in a list and you had 1,000 click handlers, that could definitely do it. Yeah. Padding, yeah. Well, there's a bunch of UI improvements we need to make. Crafty.gg is saying, how cool is that Coding Garden site now that we've updated to SvelteKit? Well, I mean, I made a lot of other updates that didn't have anything to do with SvelteKit, but it's fine. I would say, like, were you the person that made the initial pull request? Because let me see. It was Treborix. I don't know if that's you or not. You don't have to say if it's you or not. But they made the initial pull request. The issue is, like, this before was a completely static website, and then adding SvelteKit, they wrote it in a way where it would be server rendered, which kind of makes sense for some things. Like, for instance, if you look on the, is it the support page? There are certain places that actually just do a redirect. So, like, the content isn't hosted on my site, it's a redirect. And before, I was handling that with client-side JavaScript. Like, you'd go to the page, it'd take a second, and then it would redirect you. But when they rewrote it with SvelteKit, they did, like, a server-side redirect, which is cool. It would be a lot faster. But then the issue was I would actually need a Node.js process running the app. Now, I could, of course, deploy to Cloudflare workers or something like that. But this was already just deployed as just like static files on a server running Nginx. And so I wanted that. So what's cool about SvelteKit, though, is that you actually can do a completely client-side build, which is what I did. What do I want to say about that? Yeah, it's all just client-side. It's still just static code. Even though I'm using SvelteKit, everything is built to just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's no server-side code, which is pretty cool. The interesting thing about it, though, is now you get the benefit of, like, really fast page navigation. So when I click this, frequently asked questions, you can see how fast the page loads. That is client-side routing, and Svelte is automatically doing that for me. But if I go directly to this page, that's actually just a render of the page rather than it being client-side routing. So SvelteKit handles a lot of interesting stuff like that. Like, same thing if I go to the videos page, watch how fast this is. The page just loads. The underlying data is coming from an API, so that takes a second, but the page load is like instant because of client-side routing. But then when you go there, it's like actually just loading the page. I don't know. SvelteKit is cool. The thing is, I had to do a lot of work to get their code working the way that I wanted it to, but I'm glad we changed. Yeah, this app is like amphetamine, but I've used this for the longest time. I don't see a reason to change. Yeah. When I take a look at your npm packages, not today. If you ask in the Discord, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. There's a nifty program called Boomer for Linux that zooms into the screen. Well, what I've been doing here, this is just built into the Mac. Like, if you go into accessibility settings, I have command scroll wheel set to being able to zoom. So, yeah. Oh, nice, crafty.g. Thank you for making that PR. Though you did make me do a lot of work. Because, well, like, you did a lot of work, and then I was like, well, I don't want to throw away all of their work. All right, I'll make their work. But then I spent like 3 hours getting your code working the way that I wanted it to work. But I appreciate the pull request. And I am Ruse. Thank you for the 4 months. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I've always trying to use vanilla so that I understood what happens under the hood of repo. Yeah. I have an average of 1,500. Yeah, so now we're on a different topic. SQL Coordster was asking about click handlers. I have an average of 1,500 click handlers active in my React app. Can't get rid of them. Yeah, but like I said, React technically will only add 1 click handler to the whole page, I believe. Yeah. You have a ticket in Teespring, but they have not been respecting unsubscribing to emails. I'm sorry, Shark Turnup. I'll have to reach out to them. I mean, I don't know even what I could do, but that's really unfortunate. I do not like it when email lists do not respect your unsubscribe, so I'm sorry about that. I might have to switch. Excuse me. I might have to switch shops. I was looking at a few others. I mean, the one thing I like about Teespring is they ship worldwide. And they also have, printing warehouses in Europe. So when someone orders from Europe, they can get it fairly quickly because it's actually being printed and shipped from Europe. I don't know if all merch sites have that same benefit, but quick plug for the sorry that they're spamming your emails, but everyone else should check out the merch. Yeah, but the pre-render is pretty cool. I mean, I can show you the setting that I changed to make it all. I wanted it all client side. And if you look in the Svelte config, I set Well, I'm using the adapter static. So the build that gets generated has no server-side code. It's all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And then this trailing slash and pre-render make it so that, like, if I'm on a page like FAQ, technically this is a folder with an index.html inside of it, but that gives me a clean URL like that. So that's the thing. Yeah. And I am Ruse. Thank you for that sub. Yeah. Oh, welcome in, Franz? I'll call you Franz. Welcome in. We are doing some pretty advanced JavaScript today. But that's also, I'm plugging all kinds of things today, but that's also a plug for my YouTube channel. I made a new playlist. So if you go to my YouTube channel, there's this playlist called Learning Starts Here. And I went through all of my older videos and kind of like organized them to find videos that are really good for beginners. So definitely check out that playlist. It starts with like free online resources to learn to code, and then there's some more like beginner JavaScript type videos. Eventually, I want to have an entire course on like JavaScript from scratch, but I have not made that yet. Yeah. Yep. Oh, no worries, crafty.gg. Like, because it's so, I mean, it just, yes, I know that I could have asked you to make updates, but I also didn't even know what updates I wanted to make because I needed to figure it out. And I of course could have like, hey, do this, do that, but also I don't know. It's just the way I work. I was like, I want these changes now, and I don't want to have to the back and forth and like asking someone to do the updates. Like, that would take more time, and I feel like it would take more of my energy to do that rather than just doing it myself. I don't know. Oh, do a flashlight effect? I made an app a while back. It was an Electron app where you could you enable it, and then like it creates like a vignette, so it makes the entire screen black except for where your cursor is. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Unforgiven. Thanks for being here from Chile. That's awesome. Yeah, like I would say, like, if I'm working on a team, and especially if it's like someone that I'm mentoring or something, I would absolutely take the time to say, like, hey, update it this way because of XYZ reasons, because that would help them learn and grow. In this case, I just wanted the changes. I was like, this site has needed an update for a very long time, so I was like, I'm just going to make this work. And going into it, I didn't know that it was going to take me 3 hours. But so, I mean, some of the updates I did as well were actually making some of the pages that stayed client rendered, I turned those into Svelte components. Actually, with web component, that's actually an interesting pattern that I did. Where, I mean, I probably should have just rewrote it with Svelte, but I'll show you an example. Like the frequently asked question page was all just client-side vanilla JavaScript. And the issue in converting it to a Svelte component is that I was like, what's the other? Yeah, I was like dynamically creating elements and then like going in and updating their inner contents, because all of the contents for the frequently asked question page actually comes from GitHub. It's an API request to get the markdown, and then I render the markdown and then replace some of the internal contents. I could figure out how to do that with Svelte, but ultimately I wanted to just keep the original vanilla JS code. So what I did was this Svelte component basically just loads a custom element that I defined called frequently asked question. And then the custom element has all of the vanilla JS functionality from before, but then it just gets loaded into the DOM. So this is like vanilla JS getting put into the DOM for a Svelte component. The other reason that I had to do it this way is that the Svelte component styles are scoped by default. And these styles for the frequently asked question page, I only wanted to be for the frequently asked question page. But if I had a style tag here, then it wouldn't get applied to the dynamically created elements. Also, because it's a web component, they wouldn't get applied because it has the shadow DOM. So ultimately, I created the Shadow DOM, created these styles. So now these styles only apply to frequently asked questions, and they don't leak out to the other components. But I did the same thing, I think, on the videos page, which is the same scenario. Like, I technically could have rewritten the page to be pure Svelte, but I had a lot of custom vanilla JavaScript for like animations and adding and removing elements. So I did the same thing. I wrapped it in a web component. You have all that DOM code now. At least I thought I wrapped it. Maybe I didn't. No, in this one I used global. So and it's my break timer again. In this one, all of the styles I defined, I made it so that they would work with the dynamically added elements, but there are no other pages on my site using these same class names, I think, anyways, or using these same styles. So these styles didn't leak out. Some of them might actually leak out. I don't know. I technically still need to convert those to just straight up Svelte components. SvelteKit, if you look at their website, and I like one of the when I was looking into it a while back, in their docs, they even, one of the things they say are just like, you should I at least the last time I remember reading the docs, they had a section that was like, SvelteKit should be run as a server-side runtime. Like, you should let SvelteKit do all of the hard lifting. It should be server-side rendered. It will be hydrated, and you'll have like a single page application feel for various parts of your app where that can work, but for the most part, it will be server rendered and all of that. So they typically require a Node.js runtime to run your Svelte app. Though they do have that adapter static, which I added, which allowed me to create a completely static build. I'm gonna stop getting off topic now, though, because I'm 7 minutes behind on chat and I need to write some code. So yeah. Well, no. So the reason I had trailing slash is so I didn't want to have so right now whenever you go to FAQ, I didn't want to have people try to type index, or I didn't want to have people try to, not try, I didn't want people to have to type index.html because, or sorry, or FAQ.html. Like, I didn't want people to have to type that, and I didn't want them to have to type FAQ/index.html, which I guess you wouldn't because it would be static rendered anyways. Wanted that. And so trailing slash made it so that when the static build ran, it created a folder called FAQ with an index.html inside of it. Technically, that should work, I thought. Maybe it's like .htm? Or maybe it's messing with how the static files are served as well. But hey, welcome in, Klaus Dev. It's been a while. Glad to have you. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Mito. Hi. Hopefully that YouTube playlist is useful. And welcome in, Be Nameless from Finland. Very good. What's up, Easy Game, Easy Life? Hey, yo. What's up, Platnot Pratt? Good morning. Yeah. Mouse pose. I've never used this, but it might have been similar to the thing that I made. I feel like you've been here, Shark Turnip. Here's what we'll do, Shark Turnip. If you've sent 999 plus messages in my channel, I'll make you a VIP. Let's see. Let's look at him. Shark Turnip. Oof, you've only sent 574 messages. I mean, but you've been... No, I don't want to incentivize, like, spamming the chat. DM me your CDN. And also, if you DM me on Discord, I'll see your linked profiles, and I can make sure that you're a real person and you're not going to potentially add a CDN that will do bad stuff. So, yeah. Why people shouldn't type .html? Oh, it's just not convenient. And also, all of my existing links would break. So right now, yeah, so if I have a link to, if we say, take me to the gear page, it has like that. And if we changed it to be gear.html, then this link would break. So I didn't want all of my old links to break. And also, people like clean URLs. Like it, the URL just looks prettier. Yeah. Yeah. The entire server list just scrolled to the bottom. Oh, so you were trying to move it and then it just scrolled the list? Yeah, so SvelteKit, it does hybrid rendering, very similar to Next.js, where your initial page load will be server-side rendered, but then after that, if you have routing, that will potentially be client-side routing. Yeah. And thank you for that focus mode, Limeotes. And welcome in, Arpats. Glad to have you. Yeah. Hack the overlay, that's the best way to get VIP. I mean, that's how Stony Eagle got VIP, but it's not the only way. All right, let's write some code. I appreciate all the questions, but like I said earlier, if you have off-topic questions, feel free to add a question on the help forum. Yeah. It's Shulman. Ask on the Discord. I gotta stop doing off-topic stuff. Okay. When we click on a thing, it takes us to that on the map, and then it also sets the editing. I want a potential option that says we are editing an existing one. So that, check this out. When the page loads, if I click somewhere random on the map, like, well, not random, but let's say I want to add Lakewood Country Club to this list. When I click there, that gives me a form for adding a new spot. And Mo Saeed, thank you very much for that prime. So that gives me a form. When I click save here, that's going to add a brand new spot. But right now, if I click away, it replaces the currently editing one with the one that I just clicked on. And I want to prevent that, because if I'm in edit mode, I don't want to be able to click away to another one, which would potentially lose my changes. So I think maybe we'll just create a signal for that. Like, there will be a signal that will let let the other components know that we are currently editing. Something like unsaved changes. So we'll say editing spot unsaved changes. And that will just be a signal with a Boolean that starts off as false. So to begin with, we don't have unsaved changes. And then whenever we start editing, specifically in the spot form, we will set editing spot to true. If the input changes, that means we've changed something. And here we want to say editing spot unsaved changes dot value is true. So anytime we change one of these things, and I just need to add this as an import from my signals here, like that. So that gets added there, and then anytime we change something, we need to say that unsaved changes are true. So that way, we won't reset the edit. The other thing is, when a post request is successful, we want to say that unsaved changes is false, because after we create, there are no longer unsaved changes. Okay, so now with that update, on the sidebar, when I click an item, I don't want to set the value if editing spot unsaved changes is true, then I don't want to do this. So if this is not true, so if we don't have unsaved changes, then yes, change the current one that we're editing. I think this should give us that functionality. So this is the 12th stream that we've been working on this, and the power in my house just went out. So, luckily I'm still live, but I'm gonna go ahead and raid someone in case that my power doesn't come back. So let's find somebody to raid, and then I'll go. So that's my PSU, my power supply thingy, running. And then I'll go. Who should we raid? Hurry, pick somebody. Jackie Codes. Jackie Codes gets the raid. If I go live again, I'll send a message on the Discord, so be sure to join the Discord. I'll send a message there, but this is very unfortunate. See you all later. I gotta see what happened. My bill is definitely paid. My bill is definitely paid. Okay. So this is hilarious to me that my internet still works when my power goes up. I have two PSUs. I have a PSU at my streaming computer, and then one at my modem and firewall and stuff like that. Oh well, go have fun over there. And if I go live again, I'll let you know on Discord. All right, we'll see you.